B3 is the opening move by Hikaru Nakamura in this incredible game. It was played on chess.com, 3-minute, online. His opponent is 11-year-old Faustino Oro, now an international master. What a prodigy and what a special game this is. Incredible finish to it. So after D5, played by Faustino, Hikaru now tucks that bishop into bed. We see the C pawn advance, knight F3 and A6. A slow move, but it anticipates possibly bishop b5 one day. You don't want the knight chopped, it's helping control these dark squares. So e3 from Hikaru, knight f6, he now fights for the center, and after captures, there's a million and one ways you could retake that pawn. Hikaru decides to plonk a pony in the center, allowing Faustino to erect that BBC, big black center, if he wants to do so, but he holds off, just pushes the pawn one square. The bishop's crying a bit, but it comes to life one day. Knight d2 is now played. This bishop develops and the explosive c4 is on the board. Castle's simply played, allowing Hikaru to take in the center if he wants.
Mushrooms.
But after pawn takes, you breathe life into the bishop. So instead, we just see bishop e2. This knight now develops and bang, we see a change in pawn structure. Who does it favor? I got no clue. That's why I'm sat here. But what a game. We're going to keep rattling through. Castles is played. Now e5 takes the space. The bishop cries freedom. And after queen c2, the rook's connected. Faustino copies with his own queen development. The game's hotting up as the rook centralizes. h6 on the board. And I love this from Hikaru. The knight on d2 is dominated. What does he do? Improve that piece, baby. This is why he practices. This is why he visualizes, along with Fabi, Ali Reza. The top guys take the pony maneuvering seriously. They know its importance. So the clergymen are stacked by Faustino. This knight hits g3, is headed for the f5 square. g6 is a really natural move, could also then prepare this pawn push, but instead we get this committal pawn to e4. Some really nice points to it. You interrupt the queen's connection, so the knight can't hop. You gain space. One day this square could be very tender, but you do give white an absolute monster bishop now. Potato, potato. So rook ac1 now played, and these are some of the slower developing moves that are probably best order of the day, but not played. We get h5, aggression from Faustino, and now the tactics just kick off because you can't take this pawn, or else there's this and bang, that's a double attack. Mate threatened, or loads of nastiness. Maybe the king runs, but that's just horrible, or the bishop's dropping, no good, right? And if you take in the other order with bishop first, thinking aha, now if you do it I'm going to drop back, well, there's different ideas. You could go for this one, for example. Great position for black, still the attack rumbles on. So we jump back here. After pawn to h5, it wasn't touched, but Hikaru's seen a counter shot. He takes in the center of the board here. The bishop's under fire, so you have to take back. And now he goes wham, takes off the knight on f6. Why would you give up that beautiful bishop on the long diagonal? Well, this is the tactical point. This is why the rook should have been on d8 earlier on. We see knight takes on e4. Excellent move, and that's surely going to shock you. You know, it's reminiscent of the time that someone yelled ghost at Garry Kasparov just as he was deep in a long, calculating, tactical line. Not ideal to disturb the former world champion. So what do we see now? Well, not takes, because then you crash through. Great position. So instead, we see bishop takes on h2. Kamikaze mode. Yes, you give it up, but at least you've dragged the king out and you were losing a piece anyway. Now, you can actually take on e4 here because the pawn's under fire. So white's not got time to take here. Black crashes through. This is the best for black to cover the pawn like that. But it was missed by Faustino. After takes on h2 with the king, he flicks in this check. Very understandable move. The king backpedals. Now he takes in the center. Pawn is covered, but it wasn't great. Hikaru's got the very simple pawn g3. Not played. I don't have the analysis mode today with the way they played this game on chess.com. Can't go to the back cave. And the problem here is the queen's a bit embarrassed. Can't stay with the pawn. It simply drops off the board. And you even cover this pawn push to boot. Lovely, lovely. But not played. Hikaru misses it. We rewind. Didn't go g3. He went queen c5, hitting that pawn, defended, and now he centralizes his monster queen. So it's still a great maneuver. He's still standing a bit better here. You know, where's black's attack really? The pawn on e4 is weak. The rooks are already blasting on the open files. This pawn is weak. But bishop f5, there is some fight here. Some life for black because an attack is coming on the king. We see bishop c4 activating. Hits the king side. Still pressures a6. Maybe bounces to d5 one day. Queen g4 played. Very natural idea. And now after rook d6, Hikaru is activating with malice. Lots of ideas in the air. h4 from Faustino. He carries on going for the throat. Excellent policy. Just ditches the queenside pawn. Hikaru's got all the one end games now, but he's going to come under fire first. You could go h3 first, but rook fd8 selected. Don't go rook d1, looks very natural, but there's tactical problems. Here's one of the main ones, and now you take with check. Not only 2 rooks for the queen, but you also lose the bishop here. Black's completely killing it, so that's not the way to go. Doubling the rooks here. Instead, we see captures. Rook takes back, and now queen f4 offers the exchange because, of course, the endgame is exceptional for white with the connected passed pawns. So that's why queen h5 is played. Ducking it, looking to attack. Bishop c4 on the board. Pressures the king, but also rolls out the red carpet over there for Andrea, the a-pawn. h3 now on the board, and the counterintuitive takes is actually best. Yes, the queen gets dragged in, but a4 is running fast, and it's hard to go king g7, bring the rook, because you run into this check stuff all the time. This is the thing. If you try and bounce in the bishop instead, then you run into this. There's various problems that make it difficult for black to bring the rook into the attack and carry things on. But not played. No h3, sorry, after h3, no takes. Instead, we see queen c7 from Hikaru. So he hits the rook. It naturally saves itself. And now you could already run the pawn or take on h3, but he drops back like this. Meaning that after takes, suddenly the attack is making some progress here. Bishop g4. The position's back roughly level. Take on e4, I dare you. You're running into bishop f3, double hit on the queen, and this mating square with the black queen. You just can't touch that e-pawn. So queen h2 from Hikaru, going for the exchange of the ladies. Queen f5 is played, queen f4, queen h5, queen back, queen f5. Are we going to see the old pogo stick, 3-time repetition? No, we don't. Because Hikaru plays with ambition here by dropping back the bishop. This one slides into f3, bishop g2, and king g7. May we, something wicked this way comes. Now this queen goes to h3, offering an exchange again. Dodged, offered again, dodged of course. Still Hikaru can keep bouncing, make the draw. He wants more though. He plays the very ambitious, but bad, bishop to h3. And it's actually a losing move here because the queen can move away, and now you've got some serious problems. You know, if you bounce back with the bishop, well, rook h8 comes, and there's huge problems down on this square. Lots of mating ideas, but we won't go too deep on that line because Hikaru in the game, after bishop h3, queen h5, he pushes this before Faustino can do anything else. Looking to make a baby girl one day, also allows a rook lift into the defense potentially. Must have been the idea, but he's just not in time because rook h8 comes, the bishop's under fire, and now if you lift the rook, well, the piece simply drops. Now in the game it drops back to g2, but what if you cover with the king? Well, then there's different ways to win. You know, you can push the g-pawn here, or you can play bishop g4. Nice and simple. Yes, you can hit the queen, but this one's ultimately dropping, and although white's got some dangerous passed pawns, this endgame should be lost with the bishop, and these guys are so good at holding these together, converting the win. So that was what happens on king h2, but not played in the game. We see bishop g2 on the board here, and now There's a winning shot for Faustino. It's checkmate in 2 moves. Can you find the hammer blow that knocks Hikaru out here? Dispatches him in style. Very well done if you saw it. Thumbnail probably gives it away. It's Queen H1, absolute brilliancy, and Hikaru just resigns the game in this position, because if you take with the bishop, only move of course, then this rook shuts the trap on the king. Normally this is bread and butter for Hikaru, but he just missed this one. 50 seconds still on the clock or something like that. Quite surprising. Great game by the youngster, but don't want to misrepresent. Hikaru has generally been whooping him for months, you know, wins most of the games, but every so often this young man is popping up and doing something incredible. And if you want to see another exceptional game between these 2 guys played back in the summer, you have to check out the video on screen. Now that one was a special one. Hope you enjoyed and see you soon. Cheers.